big mould up now, we can lift that up onto the top. And then there should be 2 bits of fiberglass cloth as well, get them up. So yeah, this is the fiberglass, so they're glass fibres, and glass is incredibly strong in tension, so you'll never pull a shard of glass apart in tension. That's the strength that is kind of going to give this product. And we're just going to make a sandwich of that, a layer of that above our coils, a layer of it below, and then we're going to fill in all the bulk. We've mixed up resin, we'll fill in all the gaps.
How do we do how do we get that underneath?
We'll lift the coils out. So,
right.
Yeah. So we're going to lift them out.
It's a magic trick.
Yeah.
He's got other magnets and they levitate the coils. So you slide it underneath.
Just put them off to one side. And what we're going to do first, before we put that cloth in, is wax. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, exactly. So some sort of mould release agent. Yeah, we've got honey wax here. You can use candle wax. Vaseline is really good, easy to get hold of.
Just to stop it last?
Yeah, basically, yeah. We want to be able to get this out in the morning. Like you can see, we've made like about 10 turbines out of this mould already, and it's starting like there's a few bits of it.
So what is the? This is obviously wood.
That's wood as well. Yeah. It's
just, right. So that's just ended up. That's just ended up with a coating of fiberglass on it.
Yeah, and wax, and it's a bit old, but.
These are what, those little things?
They're little lines to help locate. Yeah, they're just screwed in. They're not in the recipe book, so they're just there to help locate them, but they're not necessary. But it sort of speeds up the casting, of course. But yeah, there's a few tasks. I'll explain them all, and then we can get on with doing them. So one is to, I just have to crack on a little bit. We're going to use just the cloth down there to get big clumps of this and rub it really liberally into all of this surface, all around here, and the underside of the lid. Generally anywhere we don't want the resin to stick to. But it's important to not get any of that wax on the coils themselves, because then the resin won't stick to the coils, and that would be really frustrating. And similarly on these cloths, because we want the resin to have like a nice impregnation in that. So that's a task for someone to be working up with. While that's going on, so maybe 2 people are waxing stuff up, we'll start mixing up the resin. And we're going to make 2 different batches of the resin. It's by the back door there. Can you just grab the metal tin and the little, not the acetone, the other plastic thing. So this is vinyl ester resin, which we buy by the kilo. This is really expensive because we ordered a 20 kilo drum that was £200, but it didn't arrive in time. It's currently in London, so we ended up having to buy 2.5 kilos for like £40, I think. Kind of got ripped off, which is often what happens with resin, like economies of scale and stuff. But this is a bit different from the polyester resin you use for boats, but it's a very similar system in that you mix it with a catalyst, which is peroxide based, and it mixes. It's got an accelerator already mixed into it, and 3 things go off to create a rigid plastic product that looks like this after about 4 hours. So the amount of catalyst you put in and the ambient air temperature affects how quickly that happens. We don't want it to go off too fast because it would be really brittle. We want to like allow that process of it setting gently to happen. So what most people do with fiberglass work is they have thin layer. They make a thin paint of it and roll it on like if you're building a canoe, and it's very thin stuff. What we're doing is actually baking a big, thick cast block of it, and it's exothermic, and it can accelerate itself and go off too quickly if we just mix up normal concentrations. So we want to slow that process down, so as well as having a mixture of just the resin, we'll be adding in, so the main bulk that we pour in over the coils, a filler, which is a bulking agent. It's a lot cheaper than resin, but it is also got a lot of aluminium in it that pulls heat out of the reaction and slows it down. So that's quite important. That can just be talcum powder from a chemist. That's how a lot of our early turbines were made, and it's lovely when you drill it. It smells of babies. This isn't talcum powder. It's just it's called Snow Cow is the brand product for it. It's ABTH or something like that. But yeah, you get it from resin supply shops. It's 50-50 mix is what we're mixing. But we'll be making up 2 different blends. We'll be making up a blend of just resin and catalyst in this little tub, and then we'll be doing one of resin and bulking agent in this catalyst in this tub. And the pure resin, as we call it, we will, once this is being waxed, we'll drizzle that in there, roll it around till it's completely coated the bottom layer, gently lay the cloth on, dab it so that it's totally impregnated, lower the coils in, pour in the thicker stuff to fill in all the gaps, put the other cloth on, drizzle the remainder of the pure resin on, dab it, put the lid on, put the clamps on, go to the pub.
And we use the pure resin on the outer edges.
Yeah, it's a lot thin, it's thinner and it will soak into the cloth a bit better.
It's better waterproofing?
It's stickier, not necessarily better waterproofing, but it does sort of create a better finish. Than this is going to be oopier, and the thinner stuff will just soak into the cloth a bit better and provide a nice finish. With the magnets, it's really important to use the pure resin as a band all the way around the outside to adhere to the steel disc. The bulking agented one isn't as sticky and so won't provide that really good adhesion to the steel disc. It's still pretty good. I mean, you're going to struggle to get it off, but that's it. That's
so
the bulk.
on the steel disc, did you just use the pure resin?
No, so we put the disc in the mould. The mould, I mean, you'll see it when you open it. The mould's got a band all the way around the outside that's bigger than the steel disc, and so you pour resin in that to build it up to the level of the steel disc. Then go in with the bulking agent, and then cloth on top and pure resin on top of that to adhere to it. So those are the tasks. So yeah, a couple of people waxing things up. Particular attention to these because it's obviously a high surface area, like potential for being a pain to get out in the morning. Really rubbing the wax in really liberally, and then we'll need to get the scales, which are up where we were doing the soldering. It's the red set of scales. If they can come down, and then we can weigh out different concentrations. We're in a nice open area, so I'm not going to say we have to wear masks out here, but we should wear goggles when we're stirring stuff, and we should wear gloves, not with this waxing stuff, but when we're handling the actual resin, we should have some blue gloves. But this is just hand wax.
I do actually manage to make one blade really well. Then I might go and
get that
the rest
stirred
of it,
in.
But I'd just like to get some practice.
So with stirring, you're trying to not whisk air into it. So really thorough, getting right into the corners, like spending a good 5 minutes just gently pulling it in. But you want to avoid whisking
Too
air.
bad, but I don't know if I've got the patience to carry out that. I want something to actually practice. So to me,
Well, that's going to then create air pockets in the cast, which will be moments late inspection.
and if I actually manage to do that, then just perform, I might actually make the rest of the turbine. So
Generally a weakness point. So we want to try and avoid that.
You're not a man who watches the Bake Off.
I did watch it, but I just sort of assume that it's similar to this but less toxic.
buy a battery.
And less tasty.
Yeah. So this one is now, I would say, because we're going to have to also stir it further when we add catalyst, ready to have its catalyst added. So you'll notice that the colour of the resin has significantly changed there. That's basically to remind you that you've forgotten to put catalyst in or not. It's just a visual indicator. You've remembered it, it's changed colour, that's quite useful. Good. So this one also wants 750s, someone want to squeeze that, so squeeze it till it gets to 750.
750?
Seven and a half, sorry, yeah.
So just below the 10?
Between 5 and 10, pretty much exactly between 5 and 10, so way over. So now you want to just stop it and tip it back down that way.
That is awesome, I like that.
And
That's sensitive,
yeah, so stop squeezing it while we empty it. Yeah, it's quite. Let's have a go at trying to empty it because
that's about right, isn't it?
yeah, you've got to be flat.
Okay. Oh, that's a bit too much. So, same again, is it? Just
A little bit back and then back to vertical, and that should have emptied it a bit.
Right, that's too low now. So that's 5.
Yeah.
Sensitive little thing, isn't it?
It's really good though. Try it there.
Too much.
That'll do, I reckon.
It's too much again. Try again.
So that's been stirred probably enough now. So we can now, roughly using half, well, a little bit less than half of what's there, drizzle this in sort of. It's fine to get it obviously over the top of these, but we just want to put enough in here that we can then rock the whole thing to a nice even coat across the bottom.
Right?
Yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, so just whack that whole thing in now.
So bits on the top first.
Just crucially, we're just trying to think across the entire bottom of the mould. So just whip round a couple of times. Yeah, that's probably enough of a little bit more, because we're then gonna.
So next year we're going to see him on the Bake Off.
Yeah.
I'm just drizzling some caramel.
Yeah, don't lick your fingers.
Yeah, probably not.
So that's good. So now, yeah, we can just grip it and tip it all the way to one side and try and, we want to avoid disturbing that wax layer, so we don't want to start smearing it.
For that?
I think it is, yeah.
How much mixing does this one want?
5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. So that's the pure resin,
That's just pure resin, so that's going to form a layer across the bottom. We'll put the cloth in, we'll put a bit more in, and then dab it.
Do you have a yellow multimeter or my band, please?
No, and yes.
It's not flowing very fast, is it?
Nope.
But that quantity is definitely enough to do it, is it?
Not definitely, but it's better to make little batches rather than one big one that goes off before you've had time to pour it in. You could probably drizzle a bit more into that. Yeah, you're sort of giving yourself a bit of a hard time there in terms of how much. Just yeah, a little bit more.
A little bit of solid resin has come off the bottom of the container.
Yeah, that's just from
So
when it
I
was
just
used before.
moved it out
Yeah, that's fine.
because I can feel lots of bits on the bottom.
Yeah, be okay. Just keep stirring it in, like working your way right around the edges. Do big figure of eights and stuff.
Yeah.
That looks more like it. Like a game, one of those mazes.
Yes. I used to play that as a kid.
Yeah, I remember having it too.
Are these resins available around the world in
Yeah.
all countries?
Generally, if you head to the coast, you'll find someone who makes boats, and it will be quite easy to get hold of these sorts of materials. Yeah. So the easier one is polyester resin.
Not still in the Congo.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, generally, yeah, near the coast they're making boats with it. Vans are often repaired with it as well. Like a lot of the roofs of vans are made of fiberglass, so that's the sort of place you can get hold
Yes,
of
but
these.
this stuff does smell like car.
You spend a little bit more money to use vinyl ester rather than polyester. It's about 3 times the price, but it is UV stable and more waterproof, like polyester.
So
even though people make boats out of it, it does actually gently leach water, and it's not UV stable. So you would need to put a gel coat or an epoxy on the top of polyester if you wanted to stop it from breaking down. Whereas with this, our casting is just going to be UV stable. We don't need to paint this afterwards, which is quite useful.
So do we paint it at all?
You don't have to. Some people like to just for the aesthetic, but the polyester provides a good enough. The vinyl ester provides a good enough weatherproofing to not have to bother.
I was going to say that all the canoes have got a gel coat and then got the fiberglass coat. That explains then it doesn't need it.
In terms of the total, just materials alone, what's the materials total cost for a build?
It's about £350 for this sort of size machine, just for what we're building. 400s if you're having to buy everything individually, maybe. But that's kind of 350 is where we get it in the going.
And obviously, but that assumes you've got a workshop and all the tools,
Yeah, absolutely.
place to store it, people
And that-
know what they're doing.
And that is just the turbine as well. That's not the tower or the electrical system. That's just the bit that spins at the top. So the tower can be the same again for a bit of pipe and some guy ropes, and then the electrical, like the batteries, can cost however big a battery that you kind of desire for your wind autonomy. That kind of
So you're talking £1,000 a go?
yeah,
more?
roughly for this sort of size machine. Yeah, that would be kind of what it took. But then you've got your labour on top of that. But that's enough for now. I'd say we'll keep the rest of that
Just
back.
1 or 2 tiny little.
Only little dribbles. I think
no.
they'll go as we dab this down. So this can get lowered on now. This is the fiberglass cloth.
Okay.
It's got those two there are in line, like those two, and then the rest.
Yep.
All right, so that wants to get layered down now. Someone, and then someone dabbing. Once it's laid down, we can drizzle a bit more of the resin on top and then dab it.
Is it not a design flaw that we've had to cut 6 slits in the fiberglass sheet?
No, in fact, we've done it in the past where that's been a complete hole all the way through the stator in the middle of the coil, which aids with cooling. It's not really a strength issue. The stator's plenty strong enough. We'll put some additional little bits of fiberglass cloth in the 3 corners where we're going to drill through and put our bolts. But in terms of the strength, this is way stronger than it needs to be in terms of holding the coil stationary. It's principally just to hold them in place and a bit of weatherproofing, but Yeah, it's action. That looks great. That's good. And now we can drop the coils in, which is a kind of a 3-person operation of holding onto the coils. I'm just going to go a bit sticky. Yeah. It's okay to have resin on your hands while you do it because we want resin on the coils. So, yeah. Those 2 coils. Someone humming a tune then?
Yeah.
Great. So when we put the lid on, it will crush things down. In the morning, we might find that some of these bits of copper do need a little bit of neatening up. But yeah, generally, if we can get them all tucked in like that.
Oh, I'm going to get it on my fingers, and now I am.
Well, wax some gloves on. That's what they're for.
Too late now.
PPE on.
I hate fiberglass.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But when you think you're making something that's going to like outlast your great grandkids, it's kind of the way of doing it.
Well, unfortunately, the way I canoed, it didn't. I'd bash into rocks and things, and then I'd start to get wet and think, bugger.
Yeah, should have made a concrete boat.
Yeah. Now,
So,
unfortunately,
with a turbine like this, what will it power?
Scotland.
Yeah, all
of it.
Small section of Scotland. It will power something like a narrowboat sort of electrical needs if heating's coming from a wood burner or something like that, and all you're looking for is a bit of lighting, your laptop for a few hours a night, and like maybe a low-powered fridge or something like that.
And it works because of the battery system. It will still work so long as there's wind from time to time. It still runs anyway because of the batteries.
Exactly, yeah. So you're charging the batteries up, and generally having a big enough battery bank for your wind regime so that when it is a windy day, you've got enough capacity to store enough for the days that aren't windy in between. That's the sizing of the battery bank. Okay, I think we could drizzle all that stuff on now to fill up the gaps. We might need to mix up a little bit more, but we basically just want to get it in.
Are you happy that they are clear enough of the drill holes?
Absolutely, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, cool.
We can
Where do
snip
you
up
want this to
over
go?
everything. Like we want to fill up all of these gaps.
There's never enough of the resin.
Well, we'll mix up some more. That's fine. It's better to have done in little batches, and we'll get an idea about what 250 does, and then maybe just only have to do another 100 or something like that. So. It's really frustrating to be left with big buckets of resin at the end of it that you can't do anything with.
Expensive.
You mean you've not got some little rubber moulds and you make like moulds and things like that?
Yeah.
So just pour it on.
Yeah, drizzle it on. Try and make sure you do get all the way round with your first sort of bucket's worth, and then
Squirrel.
Okay. And I'm just aiming for the coils.
Yeah, you're just filling this entire cavity up so it's level with the top of the plywood. That's the sort of thing. So you can snip up some little tabs of this that we're just going to stuff into these corners to increase the strength there. Perfect.
And that, did you say that's the one with the...
That's had the additive,
Packing, yeah.
which is a
Why it's that
bulking
horrible
agent.
colour?
Yeah.
Caramel.
Yeah. I was thinking it looks like brown packing tape.
Yes, it is that colour.
It is definitely that colour. And as our company's got tighter and got thinner and thinner and thinner packing tape that you can see through now, it's definitely that colour. It used to be a lot browner than that.
Okay, so we're definitely going to want to mix another batch up now.
Yep.
Eyeballing it, I'd say probably another 250 is not going to be far off what we need.
So what's the first ingredient?
The resin at 250 and then the bulking agent at 250.
So that there, when this goes on, that's going to be flat to that surface.
Yeah.
So that is all going to squash down.
Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
Flat enough. Okay.
Nice to be, nice 13 millimetre is the size that the mould should
And I'm
be.
assuming there's a gap in there for the cable to come out.
That's what that hole is.
Oh, right, there you go. I've not seen the hole.
So resin 250.
That's right, yep.
So it comes out on the back, not the centre.
Yeah,
Sorry, not the edge.
yeah. I mean, you could
Makes
have it
sense.
coming out of the edge. It's,
Presumably it comes out the back, it's stronger. You're not compromising an edge, are you, I suppose?
Is it? You want plums, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
In for a penny.
Oh, look at that. Like a professional.
So that's 256. And
How much is
7.5. So you can also at the same time be doing the weighing out of this to bring that up to 500.
500.
Tap it.
Tap it. Yeah. So get it on the
They'll
floor.
rise to the top.
Just give it some nice big, quite violent bangs on the floor, and you should hopefully see some
See,
of the
we're back
bubbles.
to Bake Off.
Yeah.
How to get the bits of the flour to race to the top.
Seems to have done a pretty good job. We could also put it on a vibrating table, which would just be using a sander, like a vibrating sander, to help against the table to sort of vibrate it. But yeah, I think that's okay. Let's mix that in now.
All right.
We'll pour it in. So yeah, filling up the rest of the gaps.
And do I pour it in here?
This is at the same level as this, so hopefully when we put the lid on, the lid will
Right, so
crush
I'm
down
not
on
aiming for that.
that. No, you want to fill up all these gaps
Am
though.
I? And what about
Yep,
these gaps?
Yep, there, and like everything up. Basically to be at the same
It's
level.
going to
as
be a
this.
donut.
We might need to lift this side a bit. It looks like it might be a bit uneven, but we can see what that's like once we get a bit more in. Yeah, donuts. Toilet seat is more what I refer to, like heating toilet seat.
Yeah. Oh,
You want to run current through the coils.
toilet seat for people with a pacemaker.
Get off, okay.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah, sorry if overrun. Nothing more
Right,
to
no
see
worries.
really. We're just
No,
going to put the
that's
lid on
fine.
and then it'll cure for the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I'll get them tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
See you tomorrow.
We'll see if we can't get a turbine finished.
How are we doing?
Yeah, it's alright.
I can't believe that they're going to pull down into that space.
Well, that's why we've got these hardcore clamps that we're going to really.
Yeah, but I just
Oh,
thought,
make it fit.
yeah, when you pull it
Not
down, they
Yeah,
effectively, if the coils are there, they've got to go somewhere. And I just
the
assumed
packing ratio is not high enough. Like, despite our like really good tension, they will just sort
so
of.
you're posh it just,
Yeah, we'll
and it won't
push it
just
down.
trap. Because I just assumed it'd push out and then get trapped between them.
Yeah, it can sometimes happen, which is a bit frustrating, but generally they do. It does work itself
wicked.
out. The we do just need to put in our other bit of cloth that we're going to put on the top.
yes.
We need to do a little slit
Where
in
is
there
it?
for the wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wants a slit along one of its long faces, just to accommodate the wire. Not all the way through it, just sort of in from the outside edge.
What's some
No,
sort
I've
of
got a
that to
bit more in
there?
here. Do you want
No,
to-
that's
I'll put the last
no,
bit
that's
out.
straight the last
that's
bit
a
out.
corner, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
he'll want a bit
What's
straight
gonna
in.
be-
You're
Watch
going to
out for
start
the wax.
puddling in the middle though, does that matter?
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You could put a bead of silicon sealant there and around the outside, but we don't tend to bother.
Sorry, what was that?
If you wanted to sort of constrain the resin into that bit of the mould, you could run
Right.
around here with a
Mastic.
silicon, some
Got you.
mastic. But I find it sort of just makes a bit of a mess. And we
I was
were
going to
having-
say, surely then you can't get the.
you get, well, if you like let it cure a bit before you put the lid on. But the other thing we were finding is that you crushed it, and with a sort of an uneven one, you might have a big blob of mastic that gets squashed into the casting, and then when you come out in the morning, you sort of peel it out of the resin. But
Pull
you've
it
got a
out.
big cavity which you have to
Got
fill,
you.
which is like so. What we should have done 5 or 6 years ago is made some aluminium moulds with some nice rubber gaskets that would have
Yeah.
just been like bosh. But as it is, it's like not very alienating. You can see what we've done. We've gone to the streets of Forest Fields and got an old cupboard and like jigsawed it up. This makes perfect mould because it's like really easy, like to like quick release already. But
Yeah.
yes, we don't want to alienate people from the fact they can go and make their own stuff by just presenting all these like mad shit tools. But it's great. Cloth on, then drizzle the last of this wax over it, and then dab that in with the.
Got some
you
gloves,
wanna
Tom.
Try and avoid getting an air bubble trapped underneath as you lay that cloth on. Just sort of rolling it. And yeah, drizzle the last of the pure resin on there before you try doing too much dabbing. So that's in that bucket there. Yeah, just use the rest of it up.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's going to do the outside coating.
All over the top.
Over
Yeah.
the,
Whip round a couple of times. That's it.
It's the icing on the donut.
yeah, I'm liking it. We've got the sprinkles.
Yes, hundreds and thousands.
Dust a bit of the aluminium powder on, a bit like ice sugar.
Yeah.
Been down St Anne's, would be just sniffing it instead. Could taste the aluminium now.
You just want sort of bushing round so it's all
Yeah,
even.
dabbing rather than too much brushing, yeah. And then has this had a nice coating of wax on I'd give that quite a bit more wax. I want that to be
I don't think,
slippery.
I was going to say, I don't think we waxed that.
There's a bit in there, but yeah, I want that to be completely like slippery to the touch. So yeah, maybe just work a little bit wax into that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, just want to make sure all your cloth's got impregnated. And then once we've got that wax on,
Wax off.
That
film's got a lot to answer
once
for.
they've got this wax, we can feed the wire through that hole and lower it on, and then drop the clamping mechanism on.
Go through that hole,
Yeah. Pull it down, and then evenly bring all 4 bolts down there to compression.
Right, see you tomorrow, guys.
So cheerio. So this one, the thread's actually stripped on that, so you just have to use a G-clamp on that one, I think. So there should have been.
Yeah, you got any more nuts?
Yeah, there's one.
We've got a washer there.
How tight do you go?
You want to bring them all down evenly, pretty damn tight. But as you do it gently, you should hopefully see resin starting to ooze out of various places. But yeah, don't just one person whack it on really hard while the others are waiting. You want to be clamping between the metal and the metal.
So I was going to say, is yours just done? I've just done mine finger tight to start with.
Yeah, bring them all down to finger tight first.
Because we've got to wait for him to put his in.
Crank it out. Okay, now start bringing them down evenly.
So then one half turn on each.
Get a 4th person involved maybe.
Somebody else?
Yeah.
Got another person.
Half turn.
Hang on. There we go.
We've got a 4th person.
There's another
Is that the one?
ratchet.
Yeah. So we do one half turn, yeah. Is yours going to close up the same amount as ours, you think?
Another half turn? Yep, good.
How are we doing? Anything squeezing?
Not yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's beginning to come out now.
Yeah.
Go again.
Can I let it settle for a second or?
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay, one more.
Nice if we can get some newspaper on the table so that the inevitable drizzle is
Contained.
Yeah. Put the whole thing on this maybe if you want to just quickly